we go. All right, hopefully everyone can see me. Hopefully everyone can hear me. All right, hello. All right, Cassandra says hi, everyone. All right. I'm in business. Let's see. It looks like I'm on YouTube. Looks like I'm on Facebook. All right. I believe I am. All right. So, everybody, let's start the pre-show. Hey everybody, this is Bryan Hogue. Welcome to the Chiller Night live pre-show from 8 until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be talking to you about the Chiller Night programming, which will be on Stream TV at streammedia.tv. Streammedia.tv from about 9 p.m. until 3:30 a.m. every Saturday night. And tonight we are going to, let's see, I'm missing comments. We have comments, so we are hitting the gate running here. David says, chilled champagne is popped and served. All right. Corpus says, hello all. Hello, Corpus. Cassandra says, I can hear and see you. Ava says, hello. Well, hello. And hope you're having a good time. And then Tanya says, hey, it's Brian. Time for Chiller Night pre-show. Looking forward to tonight's movie. All right, great, fantastic. And speaking of tonight, the movie is, well, here's the schedule. At 9 p.m., Chiller Night Theater, Jack Shadow presents The Manster. And at 11 p.m., this is a new Chiller Chat as far as a new feature for Stream TV tonight. It is Chiller Chat. My guest is Nate Reagan, and we'll be talking about Star Wars. As today is May 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And we actually taped this last week. And 11:30, Chiller Night Theater. Jack Shadow presents The Wasp Woman. 1:30 a.m. Chiller Chat. My guest is Gary Striner. This is an older episode, but I thought it was kind of neat because it shows us going to various locations of where they filmed Night of the Living Dead, and kind of take a walk down memory lane. And then at 2 a.m., it is Chiller Night Theater. Move the computer screen here so I can see it there. Chiller Night Theater. The movie is once again our feature presentation of the night, The Manster. So that's what's coming here pretty quick at 9 p.m. All right. Now, if you've never heard of The Manster, let me show you the trailer.
Larry!
From the exotic geisha houses of Tokyo to the back alleys of the Ginza Strip comes the terrifying news of a fiendish creature that threatens to destroy all who stand in his way. This is the frightening story of an American reporter in Tokyo who unwittingly became the victim of a shocking scientific experiment that turned him into a horrible mutant, half man, half monster, the Manster.
He got away. I think I know where he's going, to Taurus. Follow me.
Right. There's panic panic in the streets as the unheard-of terror of a half-man, half-monster runs wild through the city.
There he goes!
Don't miss The Manster, a genuine thriller in the most frightening sense of the word.
All right, good people, that is just but a mere taste of what's to come at 9 o'clock. All right, now here's a comment from Brad. How can we leave this out? We can't. It's the Chiller Night Pre-Show with Bryan Hogue, starring Bryan Hogue. Now here's Bryan. All right, thank you, Brad. Here I am. There you are. Here we are together once again on a Saturday night. Corpus says, "May the 4th be with you." And Craig says, "Hi." Well, hi, Craig. How you doing? Corpus says, "Hi, Craig." Cassandra says, "Hi, Lilith." And Raymond says, "Bryan and Jack Shadow." And yes, and there is Jack Shadow right there with the picture that Stream TV put together there yesterday for the 11-year anniversary of Jack Shadow, which is pretty cool. 11 years ago. I was technically last night because it was on May 3rd. I'm going to show you a little sample of the very first time Jack was on TV at a back then. I'm going to talk to you about how this came to be. I contacted the local television station in Oil City, Pennsylvania. They did the Oil City and Franklin TV, and I presented the idea of a hosted horror show. And it was going to be called Sleepy Hollow Theater. At that time, that's what it was called. And the guy I talked to, his name was Jonathan Wenner, and he was in charge of all that. So he presented the idea to the board, and the board approved and everything. And and the thing is, I said, okay, but wait, because I'm doing this haunted house. I'm doing haunted houses. And afterwards, I'll be able to do the show. I can't do it right now because it's just too much. I was actually doing 2 haunted houses that year, different locations. So, after the haunted house, it was in April. This first scene that you're about to see was actually in April of 2008. We filmed this. Now, you can't, it's hard to see. It's not a problem or a defect of the camera. It's because we had put smoke in the room, like the fog from the haunted house. And so there was fog in the room. So you can't really get a good look at this. But we were in kind of a hurry when we were first doing this, because this very first one looks different than the second one, because it's all in the same show. It was one was filmed in April of 2008. The other was filmed in May of 2008. So with that in mind, no, not in May. They were both filmed in April, but on different nights. Okay? Okay, now keep that in mind, because I'm about to show you something here. Jack's first night as a horror host, and Raymond says he looks older than 11 years old. Yes, he's not not aging well, is he? And then Tanya says, "Good evening, Corpus. May the 4th be with you also." And then David said, "Last time I saw the Manster was in the early 70s, along with the 4 Skulls of Jonathan Drake, double feature on Channel 53's Scream in Horror hosted evening show." Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, now, I've given you the explanation behind what you're about to see. It's not even 2 minutes long. It's about a minute and 40 seconds. Both segments are from the very first episode of Jack Shadow being a horror host. That was 11 years ago, almost tonight, but it was the very first Saturday in May of 2008. So, with that in mind, I hope you enjoy Jack Shadow's first experience as a horror host. In the first scene you will see, you see a little blinky light up on the very top. This was actually in the haunted house that we filmed this. And so the very next room had a strobe light going off. So I think you're going to like it. Here we go.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Good evening. Welcome to Sleepy Hollow Theater. I am your host, Lord of the Dark, of ghosts and ghouls, of all things wicked, of poor lost souls. I am he known as Jack Shadow. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be alone? To be truly and utterly alone. No one else left. No more death or birth. You're the last one left. The last one on earth. Our friend Dr. Morgan seems to live a busy life despite being so alone. Wake up, load bodies into the car, get fuel for the car, dump bodies into the fire pit, go shopping for garlic. One may wonder why Morgan doesn't just live at the grocery store. Anyway, search and destroy sleeping ghouls during the day, go home and keep them out of the house at night. Eat, sleep, repeat. You know, that old routine. Sounds like a real fun time. And speaking of the undead, how would you handle such a dilemma? What would you do? Would you be prepared? How would you deal with a horde of the walking dead, be they vampires or zombies? Fortunately, we found a little guide to show you that may be of some use to you. I believe it somewhat applies to our thriller feature. Now take notes and enjoy part 1 of Zombie Attack.
Okay, there it was. That was the very first night of, and then I have the cane, Jack Shadow's cane right here. He's gonna be really mad when he sees I got the cane. But yeah, that's from, gosh, that was from when I first started the character. I had the cane, the martini glass, so all kinds of neat stuff I still have. All right, now let's see. Brad says, sorry I was late. I just got done watching Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Corpus says, I've been watching the original trilogy today. Oh, okay, that sounds pretty fun. Brad says, the first 3 or the prequels. And then Brad's watching the rest tomorrow. Okay, I wore my other Star Wars shirt last week, so I thought, oh, it's actually the 4th today, so I gotta get another one out. Corpus says, Jack was already on his game. Tonya says, sweet, pretty cool stuff, Brian. Thanks for sharing. Well, thank you. You know, that very first time, I was going from, it was a strange transition, to be honest with you, because, you know, Jack was more of the ghoulish, creepy character, you know, and to go from that to the horror host was... I wasn't sure what direction to take him yet at that point, you know. And then over time, and not too long, it just within a couple episodes, it started turning into more of a blend of the creepy and comedic, you know. So fun stuff. But that was Jack 11 years ago on his first attempt at being a horror host. Well, not first attempt. I mean, we did it. We've been doing it ever since. So, Raymond says, those were huge skeletal hands around Jack Shadow. Yes. Oh, that's right. I don't have those on there right now, do I? I had those, and then I'd put them back on, and then I'd take them off. So, I don't even know if I still have those. I'll have to see. And then Corpus said, as in A New Hope. Oh, as she's answering Brad's question from earlier. Brad says Jack has not changed a bit 11 years later. And then Raymond says, were you nervous? Was I nervous doing the horror hosting? If that's what you mean, I was a little nervous, to be honest with you, because I wasn't going to be the host of the show. I was just going to, my only involvement was that was going to be, I was going to own the show and produce it. There was somebody else who was actually going to be the host, and just like the haunted house, Jack Shadow was not going to be the first character that the guest came in contact with. Again, that was thrown on me at the last minute. I say thrown on me; it was my haunt, but still, it was kind of hard to do that and manage. Luckily, I wasn't doing it by myself, so I was able to manage. The point of this is, I was a little nervous because that character was already kind of established as a creepy, scary character, and then I go from that to TV host, and I only did that because the people at the for the TV station asked me if I'd consider Jack Shadow being the host. Not that that was any had anything to do with whether it was going to air or not. They just said, "Hey, would you consider Jack Shadow being the host?" And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I don't know that I want to, go through that process of putting all that stuff on." But then you find shortcuts and here and there. I don't know. Was I nervous? Yeah, I was wondering. I was kind of curious. How's this going to work? I didn't know. It was my first time doing that. I was already very comfortable with the haunted houses. I had that down, but to add TV to it, the horror hosting stuff. Yeah, that was a little different. Let's see. What am I missing here? But that's a good question. Corpus says, Mr. Shadow ages well. And Cassandra says, I see a Jack Shadow documentary in the making, or a traveling museum. Oh, that would be kind of neat. That would be kind of fun to do something like that. Maybe with someone asking me questions, or maybe with people sending in questions. And, it's a little easier for me to do that maybe than to just think of them, off the top of my head. Tanya says, best horror host by far. Oh, well, I will tell him you said so, and I know he's very appreciative to hear that. Thank you. And Raymond says yes. Okay, as far as the question you asked earlier. And Brad says, good show last night despite the computer glitches. Well, thanks. Yeah, I'll touch on that here in just a bit, and then Raymond says Jack Shadow was born for TV. Oh, that's cool. Thank you. That's quite a compliment. And David says, how did you choose the costume look of Jack Shadow? Now that's a good question. What I did was, okay, again, this was supposed to be somebody else was going to be the staple character of the haunted house. The very first one I did back in 2006. I almost said 07, but that's not true. It was in 06. About maybe a week before the haunt, 10 days or 10 to 7 days before, this individual said, I can't do it. I that's too much to memorize. That's a first impression. It's too much pressure. Well, who's left? And that's fine. If that person couldn't do it, but I was put in a position to where, okay, there's no way I can round up. It's like a 3-minute speech, and it really is to set atmosphere. You know how I am about atmosphere. So I went out. I've got 3 main costumes that I wear for Jack Shadow over the years. I don't know if you notice. I don't think it's a big distinction, but there's an actual they're in character costumes. One is actually a Jack the Ripper costume, and the other is a Dracula costume, and the third is just kind of a generic gothic vampire outfit. So those are the costumes that I picked. Now the mask came as I was about to leave the store. I had the costumes. I wasn't even going to wear a mask. I was just going to kind of blacken out my eyes, put my contact lenses in, just think of something. Again, all this was rushed. I had 100 other things I was doing at the time to prepare for this haunted house. That was my first year doing this. I had never done a haunted house before. Nervous as you can imagine, okay? Lots and lots of tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars invested in this. It had to go right. The first impression is there was a lot of pressure, and now on top of that, I had to be the key character, not the scariest character, but the key character as far as your first impression. So I'm walking up to get the costume at the register, and I see these foam latex masks. The mask I wore at the very beginning is different than the one I wear now. I made the one I'm wearing now. But back then, I didn't have time to even think about that. So I picked that mask up, I took it back, I tried it on, I glued it onto my face, I put the contact lenses in, and that was Jack Shadow. Okay. And then the character was starting to, I don't know, there's something going on there with the character and the public, and there was some kind of connection, and they were asking questions about the skeleton character, and a reporter from the Erie Times wanted to do an interview, and I said I wouldn't tell her who played the character, because we found that to be a fun thing. We didn't say anything at first. And for years, for years, from 2006 until 2015, we never said who played Jack Shadow. We never said. In fact, we wouldn't tell anybody. If they asked, we wouldn't tell them. And if you notice on the credits, it always said Jack Shadow as himself. And so my name was never on that as Jack Shadow. I never connected my name with Jack Shadow until 2015. So a little tidbit of news there. In fact, we even took pictures of me with somebody dressed like Jack Shadow at times just to throw people off. All right, so let me see. I know I have to be missing some. Let's see. Brad says, who is going to Gross Fest so far? I am. And then, and Jack. Cassandra says, me. Corpus says, key character, master of ceremonies. And then Corpus says, I'll be there. Tanya says, the mask now looks great. It really makes Jack Shadow who he is. Well, thank you. I'm wearing someone else's mask or someone, and I bought like a dozen of those things, and they were knowing that I was going to play the character reoccurringly, and then they stopped making them, which is fine, but that put it's like, okay, when you glue those onto your face, there's only so many times you can wear those. You're ruining the quality of the latex every time you put them on, take them off. And so you have to be very, very careful if you want to get any longevity out of them, which I did. But then I had to make my own. I got to the point to where, okay, these aren't going to last anymore. And so I made my own mask. And that's what you're seeing now. So foam latex, same material, only is a little softer, and I made it thinner so I'd have better vision. The other one was like it blocked my vision from the sides. The one I have now is a lot lighter. I can breathe easier, and I can see a lot better out of it. So that is important when you're in a dark, haunted house and you're walking up and down those steps on that chair and interacting with the people. So Cassandra says, hi Terrence. David says, why did you choose the name Jack Shadow? And then Corpus says, oh man, that sucks, but I suppose inevitably that would happen with the mask. The name Jack Shadow was I was just thinking, I don't know, it's almost like a it's not his real name. It's not his real, and if you noticed over all these years, he says, I go by many names, or I go by this name, but you may call me Jack Shadow. That's more of a I don't know, a nickname for him, like Jack, because that seemed like a Halloween type of name, and Shadow just sounded, there's something kind of sinister to that, or dark. But it was more, I don't know, maybe that's kind of like a John Smith of the under Halloween world. Jack Shadow, but it sounds more like a fun name than but he is more like he's the spirit of Halloween, the Sam Hain, even though I know where the Samhain, the story behind that, and it's not actually a character, but over time in my little world, that is the spirit of Halloween, the lord of that land of the dead type of thing. So that's where I came up with Jack Shadow. At first, I don't think he had a name at first. Like the first couple nights, I think we just called him, I don't know, the gatekeeper or something, because he was the character who was letting he would do a speech, and then he would do this little spell, and then he'd let the people in. So that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun back then. Count Kakula says, good evening. Well, good evening, Count. Thank you for joining us. Corpus says, like Old Scratch is what it reminds me of. That's very a very good I don't know, comparison. It's like Santa Claus, Saint Nick, Kris Kringle, Sam Hain, Father Halloween, Jack Shadow. It's the same, it's the same type of thing right there. Or Old Scratch, like you were saying. Then Brad says, I'm in the mood for Taco Bell tomorrow for Cinco de Mayo. All right, yes. You mentioned that last week. So that's cool. And then David says, what's another name Jack uses? Sam Hain. Sam Hain is more is who he is. That's his name. His actual name is Sam Hain. But he uses the name as Jack Shadow as Robert would use Bob, I guess. It's not a short version of that name, but that's just a name for him that he goes by. And but that's who he is and what he is. A king of that realm. But I was actually thinking about. I thought of a neat idea for a crown-looking headwear for him. That's actually. I don't want to say anything until maybe this Halloween. I'll spring that on you guys. So it's a really cool idea, and I've been wanting to do this for a couple of years. I just been so busy. That's no excuse, but I always seem to have so much more that I got to get done right now, and then these other ideas get pushed to the burner. Raymond says it's his intellect, wit, and words of wisdom that sold me. Well, thank you, Raymond. Thank you. That's cool because I try to put. I enjoy writing. But some of these episodes I'm really rushed to get them done, but I still try to put a little bit of. I'm glad you said that. I appreciate that because I do try to put some good writing behind the material. The writing is the one thing. It's the delivery of the dialogue then that you have to be spot on. Sometimes it's funny but there's other times where, boy, I really want to deliver it in the right way, And though he doesn't have an outright accent, there's no outright accent. There's just a kind of a lean toward an accent, more with tone and pitch, and a certain rhythm and the way that he talks. I didn't want to do an American accent. I didn't really want to do an English accent. I wanted something to where it was somewhere in between that you couldn't really put your finger on it. So that's where that all comes from. And then Tanya says, I had Taco Bell for supper. Taco Bell is always good. A good idea for dinner, yes. And then Brad was mentioning last week about Taco Bell for, I guess this is his tradition for Cinco de Mayo for May 5th. And then Cassandra says, a rose by any other name. We love him just the same. Oh, oh shucks. And then Corpus says, will Jack be making an appearance in your haunt? I think he will. I'm trying to figure out how that's going to work with me primarily running and operating. But although I did it before, I was the owner of a haunted house or co-owner over the years, and I was able to pull that off, and we'll see. That's all I can say. I'm gonna try. I definitely want to have appearances. If he's not there every night, because it'll be 13 nights of the haunted house this year. We will see. And then Corpus says his voice cadence is wonderful. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. David says, can Jack Shadow recite an Edgar Allan Poe poem? I'm sure he could. And then that's I've actually thought about stuff like that. I've actually had him do things like that, or every once in a while, like or Shakespeare or something like that. I've kind of interjected that into some of the dialogue that he's done over the years. That's a lot of fun. because I loved reading stuff like that. And so I loved reading, love writing, and this is kind of a neat way to get that out, you know. Corpus says, I agree 100%. Corpus says, yes, indeed. Patrick says, reminds me of Jack Sparrow. Oh, Jack Sparrow, the Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, whatever you choose to say. Raymond says, I wouldn't know to leave a burning building if Lady Frankenstein were flirty, but Jack Shadow mentioned the dangers. Yes. Well, you know, I'm glad you learned something. You know, those shows aren't just scary. Why, they're educational as well. So I like to think of Jack Shadow not only as a horror host, but a companion in education, and he can help you out with those. I do remember. It's funny. I forget some of these things until people bring them up to me, and then it snaps. Oh, that's right. That I did say that. That's Brad says, always delicious Taco Bell. All right. On quite the Taco Bell thing. All right. Nothing wrong with Taco Bell. Like I said, I had to get them to be a sponsor. Speaking of sponsors, I want to take a moment though to talk about last night's show. Which was, of course, sponsored by, well, you see there, Vicelli's Pizza of Butler, Pennsylvania. So thank you, David Long, again, for once again backing us and sponsoring that program. And Gross Fest. So, of course, Gross Fest will be this July 20th. It's going to be on a Saturday in Washington, Pennsylvania. That's south of Pittsburgh. So it's going to be a one-day event, a horror convention. So if you're living even within that area at all, we're hoping to see you there. I will be there. Jack Shadow will be there. Of course, my wife Ava will be there as Aura the Witch, and then Samantha Diener, who plays Elle, will be there again as Elle Von Knock. So that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Now, last night's Friday Night Frights, again live. Thank you for all who joined. And that was when I first hopped on there last night. You know, Restream sends me this notice that YouTube was not functioning correctly. And that's why I jumped on there. Some of you saw that. I jumped on there a little early just to test things out. And everybody said they could see and hear okay. So I thought, okay. And I'm seeing chats. Now, somewhere along the line, some people, like Ava couldn't see chats. So she's on there. I saw it. And then Tom Paisley was having issues. And then I started having issues toward the end, because at the very end of the show, I was going to do an autograph giveaway, and I was going to have like a little thing at the end to choose somebody to send an autograph to. But my chats weren't working. And everything stopped when I started playing Frankenstein. I thought, oh, everything's quiet. You know, silent movie, everything gets quiet. That was just kind of eerie, because I'm there like, I don't know. I had to text Dave, and I'm like, is the show still playing? But she assured me, yeah, everything's still playing. But, those things, the technical gods hate me. But evidently it wasn't just me. If you were doing anything streaming on Facebook from Restream for the multi-streaming service, evidently that would happen. So something would have happened. But it happened to us. But I had a good time. I think everybody, I tell you what, you guys enjoy watching the movie. I enjoy watching the movie. But one of the things I really get a kick out of is watching the chats. I'm sitting here that's what entertains me, is watching the chats. We have our king of pun with Tom. He gets some real zingers in there. And, just watching Brad and Corpus and Cassandra and David, all you guys, Tanya, it's nice to see the interaction. Yeah, I really love seeing that, because I think that it's something to kind of build on with this little, the chiller community. I don't know, kind of gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling like, oh, this is really cool. Everyone's having a good time. I'm having a good time. And I'm glad you're enjoying it, because I definitely am. And Tanya says, it's all about education here, Brian. That's right. And Raymond gives me a thumbs up. Corpus says, I plan on making a visit to the haunt just to meet him then. Oh, well, that's cool. If you come on certain days, there's actually, it's not going to just be a haunt. It's actually going to be, there's going to be 2 weeks out of the month where, now this is what the plan is, and this is what I'm still in discussion over with Harrisville, is to have for 2 of those weeks out of 4 to actually have rides and vendors and a big scare ground or yeah a big fairground type of thing, vendors and all kinds of activities, like a big fair going on. And so if someone's coming a distance to come to that might be a good time to come during those 2 weeks. And I'll start posting that stuff when that will actually be. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to just turn this place into a big haunted happenings, haunted Harrisville. That'd be really, really cool. So, and then Corpus says Gross Fest and Vicelli's. Yes, our sponsors who we very much appreciate. David says, what's Jack Shadow's favorite cemetery to visit? Well, Evans City, of course. Yes, where they filmed Night of the Living Dead. And then Cassandra said, and that's not that far from, well, you guys know that, but, it's not that far from me. I live within an hour of downtown Pittsburgh. I live very close to Pittsburgh. Of course, you guys are there, and I know Corpus isn't all that far from Pittsburgh, down south of Pittsburgh, but so let's see here. I'm going to fold some Vicelli pizza like taco on the 5th. And then Brad's having pizza, soda, and ice cream right now. LOL. All at the same time, Corpus has. Oh my gosh. Patrick says, oh, he saw the video but no chat. See, that happened. And that's why I jumped on here at first, because I thought, wow, what am I going to do if this doesn't work? Minutes, can imagine this. You know me. You've at least heard me express this over the year I've been doing this. When it comes to technical stuff, I am not versed at all in I have no skill. I mean, I can't say I have no skills. Maybe I'm underplaying it a little bit, but it takes me a long time to get to where I'm at. Like I said, somebody knows what they're doing. They could come in within hours or days, have this figured out. To me, I don't have that kind of this stuff isn't sticking. It's I have like a Teflon mind with technology. So I get frustrated. I wish I did know what I was doing. But now imagine, okay, this guy here, I'm turning this stuff on, and I get this notice from Restream. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to connect with YouTube tonight, or something not YouTube, Facebook. And then that's why I jumped on here, and it's like, okay, it is playing on Facebook. But there were some issues with chats. Some people couldn't chat, or they couldn't see the chatting. That's what the issue was. So, but we got through it. At least we got a show out of it. Now that show that we did last night will be next week's 9 o'clock feature movie and stream TV, and then we should have another brand new Chiller Night Theater the week after that. Plan 9 from Outer Space. So that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be one from the TV studio, from the set. And then Corpus says, now I'm thinking of a mimosa, perhaps. Oh, all right. I know a lot of people love to drink those in the morning. Of course, I've knew some people when I used to bartend. I knew some people who like to drink martinis in the morning too. So you just never know. Everyone's got their flavor, and Patrick said it was just video on YouTube, no chat. Oh, okay. You were on YouTube. And then Cassandra says, last night was super awesomeness. Oh, that's cool. Thank you. And then Tanya says, hey, Bryan, I still think the shrews needed a bigger boat. Little Jaws reference there. Yes. And then Terrence says, wouldn't that be cool if we could play Jaws? That'd be cool. And Terrence says, that sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, hey, speaking of that, Terrence reminded me, once again, of Gross Fest. You know, we're thinking about doing this show right here. In fact, we will. We'll do a Chiller Night Live pre-show from Gross Fest. And if that means I'm doing it on my phone, if that's the way it has to be done, that's how we're going to do it. But by golly, we're going to do it. And we'll who's ever there who wants to be in it and participate, that'll be fun. If we have to do, you know, laptop, my phone, I don't know, but we're going to do it. So just because we're down there, we won't miss the pre-show. Patrick says, now I'm getting a lot of lag. I think it might be my player, not the feed. Oh yeah, I don't know. I hope it's not the feed. Terrence says, it's cool. Everything in the front of the cemetery that was in the movie, LOL. Oh, the Evans City cemetery. Yeah, that was really fun going there with Gary. And that episode of Chiller Chat's on tonight. It's not a very long episode, and we filmed this back in like 2009. It's just the one that I thought was kind of neat because we were talking about Night of Living Dead a few weeks ago, and I thought, I wonder if people know that we did a Chiller Chat from from Evans City Cemetery and the farmhouse area. So I thought I would play that. And then Corpus says Plan 9 has a black heart. And then Raymond says Lugosi's last film, which he didn't finish. I hear Lugosi's chiropractor finished the filming. Yes, and you'll be hearing that's kind of that's quite a story there. How all that happened. But here's the thing. Jack Shadow loves Plan 9 from Outer Space. He doesn't know that that's a bad movie. He doesn't know that that's a poorly produced movie, I should say. Because I still to this day, I think the idea could actually be a pretty terrifying idea. You know, done right in a proper movie and a proper story. That actually, if you think about it, an alien invasion, aliens resurrecting the dead to do their bidding. You know, to help them take over the world. You could even say, I don't know. I mean, if done right, that could actually be a scary story, a pretty enjoyable, entertaining one at least. But Plan 9 from Outer Space, with all of its faults, production faults, and all that stuff, it is. Of course, it won the Golden Turkey Award. To me, I actually very much enjoy watching that movie. I think it's a fun movie to watch. If you like schlock, if you like that old stuff, big dumb fun. That's a fun movie to watch. But it's an easy movie, of course, to make fun of. So I went the opposite way with it, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if Jack Shadow loves that movie? Like, he holds that movie in high reverence, like that. Oh man, like that was his Star Wars, and anybody who criticized the movie got, basically gets tortured or thrown in the dungeon. He won't tolerate that. You don't diss his movie. So with that in mind, when you see this episode, and we did this before when we played the movie before back in like 2008 or 2009. Knowing that in mind, just that's kind of the fun we had with it is the idea. What if the big guy likes the movie, loves the movie? Now, how do you do an episode and make fun of it when you have this this character looming over you, making sure that the movie is respected. It's kind of funny that way. Let's see. Oh, Terrence says we will figure out how to broadcast you. Oh, I have no doubt. I just I'm looking forward to this. I think that's going to be fun. I appreciate that, Terrence. That'll be a good time. And then Raymond says, I love it. Cassandra says, you guys are the best. Oh, that's cool. And then David says, if technology fails us at Grossfest, we'll broadcast with megaphones. Well, yeah, megaphones, smoke signals, we're going to get the word out. You just wait and see. And we're going to do it live. So the Corpus says, the perfect crossover sci-fi horror. Yeah, it would be. I think it would be. And then Brad says, every time I ride past West Virginia, even as a child, I always hear stories about the Mothman. Yes. I was actually going to have somebody on the program on Chiller Chat, where he and his wife both. Oh my gosh, it's 8:45. I was thinking it was maybe 20 after. That is amazing to me how quickly this time goes. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do eventually where I would love to have this be more of a podcast type of show where you know, I'm having commercials, I'm having guests on, stuff like that. You know, that was my original idea, is Chiller Chat. When I was I got the idea of Chiller Chat from Coast to Coast, because when I was a police officer, when I was working night shift, we rotated shifts, but when I would do the night shift, I'd have that playing in the background. You know, I'd be out patrolling or whatever, and you know, I'd be listening to Coast, and it was at that time when I started up Sleepy Hollow Theater back then in 2008. So I thought, well, wouldn't that be kind of neat to combine the shows? And so that's what we did. Chiller Chat was actually a segment that was inserted in, you know, the Sleepy Hollow Theater episodes. You know, you'd go to the movie, you'd come back, you'd see Jack Shadow, you'd see another co-host, and then you'd see, you know, segments of Chiller Chat. And we even had bands on it, those early ones, like Saturday Night Live. We'd say, you know, we'd have a band on. They'd send in their video and stuff like that. But it was such an ambitious endeavor, you know, and it still is. I mean, it's just that, you know, I'm kind of, I'm so just like trying to stay at top of the, you know, to try to keep up with things. Now, I will say this. It's like I said last week, it's fun, otherwise I wouldn't do it, but there's a lot to it. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when I start on the haunted house. There's a lot to all this. So when I do start on that, some things over the summer I may have to discontinue with the Friday Night Frights. Just giving you a heads up, I might have to. That's a possibility. We'll see. But those Friday Night Frights, they're very time consuming as well. A lot of fun. I appreciate the support everybody's given and sharing the videos, and but those ones might have to be put on the back burner until after the haunted house season's over with. So we'll see. I'm just kind of giving you a little heads up, and then let's see. Raymond says it's a comedy. I'm sorry, Raymond. Is that about Plan 9? Plan 9, I'm sure, because it was the last comment you made. And what's a comedy? I'm sorry. I'm Lugosi's. Okay, I'm sorry. I saw this probably out of context. And then Tanya says, would love to see more prank calls to Walter from Jack Shadow. Poor Walter. I'm always wanting to pick on him. Well, I should probably get more segments, because there's several. We started the character of Walter back early, like back in maybe 2009, I think. And he was always an off-screen character. Somebody that I could bounce dialogue back with, you know. Like Chewbacca, you know, like, well, hey, speaking of Chewbacca, of course, we lost Peter Mayhew this week, the actor who played Chewbacca, so fitting that I mentioned that on Star Wars Day. But the idea was Walter was there, kind of this off-screen character to bounce dialogue off of, and it kind of is. It's a little fun to do that because it's not so static, as a host just talking to the camera, and that stuff's a lot of fun now. David says still drinking champagne, and Brad says 15 minutes until Chiller Night Theater. And Corpus says, before we get too close to the end here, I want to thank everyone for the well wishes to Shane Dameron's friends and family. I will pass them on. I was thinking about that too today. Corpus, of course, is talking about the post that she put on the Chiller Night group page about her friend Shane Dameron, who was also a member of the group as well. And he had passed away, from what I understand, suddenly and unexpectedly within the last couple days. So we're sorry to hear about that, and of course we send our condolences to his loved ones as well. And so I appreciate you putting that up on the page. It was very, very thoughtful of you to do that. And speaking of the Chiller Night group, we watched Tales from the Crypt on Thursday night. Tales from the Crypt, the old British made movie from back in I'm sure it was British, 1972. I'm just thinking somebody had asked. I'm trying to think of who did produce that. I really don't know off the top of my head. But I remember. Oh, okay. Let me show you the fan of the week right now. Okay, and then I'm gonna get back to the Chiller Night group page. All right. There's a reason for this. Okay, fan of the week. Are you ready? Are you ready? There we go. Fan of the week is Dale Baltzer. I think I'm saying that right. Baltzer? Correct me, Dale, if I'm wrong, but Dale Baltzer of Northampton, New Hampshire. So thank you for participating, Dale, and you are the Chiller Night Theater fan of the week. So there we go. Now Dale's picture is going to be this right here. This image will pop up periodically between the shows tonight on the Chiller Night programming on Stream TV, and between Chiller Night Theater and Chiller Chat. So if you want to be a fan of the week, just let me know and send me your picture, whatever you want to submit, and we'll make sure that you get up there. So let's see here. Corpus says, congrats, Dale. And Patrick says, I do voices and do the Crypt Keeper's voice. Oh, the old Crypt Keeper. And then Terrence says, congratulations. And then, seeing some congratulations for Dale. And Dave is having a glass of champagne. Applause to Dale. And Dale says, right on, Brian. All right, there you are, Dale. Okay, cool, about the pronunciation of the name. And Tanya says, today has been a rough for me as well. Our family pet passed away suddenly. Thank goodness for Chiller Night Theater and all of you for cheering me up. I needed it. Look forward to it each weekend. Well, thank you, Tanya. I'm sorry to hear about your pet. It is tough losing the family pet. Of course it is. So I'm glad we could cheer you up, and I'm glad that this is something that you could look forward to. And we have more congratulations to Dale. And clinking of the glasses. All right. So, okay, now, Corpus, what will be the next movie that we will be seeing on the Chiller Night group on Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? So if you haven't picked out yet, if you don't, that's okay. But if so, I will announce it here. And then again, today is Star Wars Day. Star Wars Day. Oh my gosh, we have like 6 minutes left. Okay, and tonight, don't miss the Chiller Chat. We are talking with Nate Reagan, my phone-in guest for Chiller Chat tonight. It was intentional last week when we filmed it live, streamed it live, for this to actually be playing tonight on May 4th on Star Wars Day. So make sure you see that. And Okay. Gross Fest, Saturday, July 20th. All right, I wanted to mention that about I will be there. Jack Shadow, come meet Jack Shadow in person or in Monster. Meet Or the Witch, meet El Von Knock the Vampire, and of course meet me because Jack's not going to be there all day from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. or however long that is. So, actually, I wonder if they have. Let me see something here. Yes, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Right there it is. Right there it is. Grossfest.com. If you want to know, times, well, we're telling you the time, but if you want to pass on information to your friends or anything, the date, the time, the location, right there at grossfest.com, grossfest.com. So I'm sure it's going to be a fun time. I'm very much looking forward to that. Very much interested in going there. And let's see. Oh, Corpus says our next movie will be Trick or Treat. All right. Perfect. Looking forward to that one. That's a good one. And then Brad says 5 minutes until Chiller Night Theater. And Cassandra says good movie choice. Brad says get your Rokus ready. Yes. And then Terrence says Gross Fest. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I think that's going to be my new summer. We used to go to this haunt convention every year, Ava and I, and then they moved it to Chicago. Well, I don't feel like going to Chicago every year for a long weekend, so I think Gross Fest is our new weekend getaway. That'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Terrence says, hope everyone comes. All are welcome. So that'll be really cool. I guess Tom Savini's going to be there. So if you like Tom Savini, his movies, his works he's done over the years, come on out and meet Tom Savini. That'll be really cool. And don't forget about Jack Shadow. Meet him as well. I have to send you guys the hours that Jack will be there. I know he's not going to be there all day, but probably be half and half. Bryan Hogue will be there half the day and Jack the second half or something like that. David says cheers. All right. Once again, let me throw that schedule up here real quick. We got plenty of time. We got like 3 minutes left. All right, tonight at 9 o'clock, here in just a few minutes, folks, go to Stream TV by going to streammedia.tv, streammedia.tv. You can watch it online, or you can connect to their Roku channel. And if you're going to connect to the Roku channel, go to their website. Go to streammedia.tv and connect to that Roku channel there. Okay? I'm saying that because don't just go on to Roku and look for Stream TV. You won't find this one. Very easily. You might miss it. All right. Anyways, 9 p.m. Chiller Night Theater. The movie is The Manster. And then a new Chiller Chat from, new for Stream TV, that get Nate Reagan for Star Wars Day. We're going to be talking about Star Wars. And then at 11:30, Chiller Night Theater. The movie is The Wasp Woman. That was last week's feature movie. 1:30 a.m. Chiller Chat. My guest is Gary Striner. That's from years ago, but we get to look at different locations that they filmed Night of the Living Dead on. It's pretty neat. I enjoy watching that one. And then at 2 a.m. Chiller Night Theater to top off the night with Fright is The Manster. So hope all of you will be watching Stream TV tonight. And then Tony says, get ready for the movie. Hope everyone has a good chiller night. Yes, Trick or Treat with Gene Simmons from Kiss. And then Dale says, I've never seen it. Corpus Christine has good movie choices. And then David says, great show. Yes, she does. I'm very much enjoying this. Corpus says, it's a fun one. Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons have appearances in it. And then Raymond says, night all. Okay, well, hey, great. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining me tonight. And hope to see you next week. Have a good night, folks. Have a good chiller night. See you next Saturday.